Saika Academy is a super famous school with tons of advanced programs along with clubs for performing arts, physical training, martial arts, and talent development. So no one around could believe IU could drop such a savage line even while living comfortably. He's seen more talent than anyone here, so there's nothing for the youngest sister Miwa, but what Nico notices most is that it's been a long time since the two sisters ate together like this. And this scene also makes IU feel like this is the kind of family he's always wanted. Kazuki is very surprised to see her two sisters eating together. IU also prepared a separate menu for the eldest sister, but Kazuki thinks he shouldn't dream of winning her over with his cooking skills. This makes Nico a bit annoyed at Kazuki's attitude. She decides to just eat Kazuki's food. According to the plan, IU was supposed to eat for Nico, but he warns her not to eat it because she might gain weight. But IU hopes Nico won't worry too much because from now on, he's the one controlling her diet, making her so embarrassed she wishes she could disappear. It has been 3 days since IU was adopted by the Mikadono family, but Kazuki still stubbornly refuses to accept him. If this keeps up, trouble is bound to come. Before he can get to know Kazuki well, he decides he must come up with a new plan. At school, Kazuki is famous enough to attract many fans. As a girl, IU stepped up to greet Kazuki, but she thinks a mere mortal like him isn't worthy of talking to her. IU thinks Kazuki is really harsh, but if IU just gets one chance, he'll make her fall in love with his cooking. However, the girls to be ashamed of. He won't accept being called a loser. That guy decided misunderstand the two are secretly dating, so they turn to question Kazuki to get the truth. To understand Kazuki better, IU decides to ask for Nico's opinion since they are sisters, but Nico is still very reluctant to talk with IU after the sweet words the other day, so she got really angry, making IU run away, and he had to go find the youngest sister to ask about it instead. Meanwhile, the classmates are struggling with a difficult math problem, but Miwa easily solves it, scaring the other students. When IU enters Miwa's classroom, he notices there are no friends around like the two older sisters, so IU boldly invites Miwa to have lunch with him, but she refuses because she doesn't want him to see her like that. But IU stubbornly chases after her, making her very annoyed. After a while, IU catches up with Miwa. IU realizes Miwa doesn't talk to her classmates, and small challenges in this form, but IU stubbornly chased after them, making her really annoyed. And after a while, IU caught up with Miwa. IU noticed Miwa didn't talk to classmates, and to keep pushing until he discovers IU's talent. Luckily, a girl showed up just in time to knock him out, saving IU and causing a huge commotion because thought they only talked nonsense. And the three sisters are like royalty, so they're different from others. But IU completely understood Miwa's story because he's different too. He's bad at everything, but has his mother's pretty face, which makes him feel like he's being tricked. After chatting for a bit, IU completely forgot what he was about to say to Miwa. But it was this clueless look of his that made Miwa return to her usual playful self. Later, Miwa found out that the reason IU was looking for her was to ask about Kazuki. That reminded her of when she was 3, Kazuki asked their mom to make some special dishes. Back then, Kazuki looked so happy, and even I was scared of her amazing memory. Thanks to that, IU realized he needed to figure out how to make a dish like Kazuki's mom used to cook to get her to eat with the whole family again. That afternoon, right after school, Kazuki suddenly collapsed at work, worrying everyone. But Kazuki insisted she was just a little tired, even though her forehead was burning hot enough to burn her hand. IU made a nutritious porridge to help Kazuki recover, but she kicked him out. Actually, Kazuki was really scared. In the following days, IU cooked various dishes to nourish Kazuki, but she rejected them all, so he decided to go into Kazuki's room and found her. She's Nico, the captain of the physical training team, known as the emperor of the school. Barely able to stand, even needing treatment. If the fever went on, it would affect Kazuki's training, so IU hoped he could be her acting partner since he was the son of the famous actress Aya Subaru. Besides, he debuted at age 2, which surprised Kazuki since she only debuted at 6. At first, Kazuki thought IU might mess everything up, but his acting couldn't be that bad. However, as soon as he started reading his lines, Kazuki kicked him out of the room. She couldn't believe IU debuted at 2, and he admitted it was because of his mother's influence. So Kazuki didn't give IU another chance because people like him rely on their moms their whole lives and wouldn't understand how hard others have to work. IU then practiced daily to earn Kazuki's trust, but every time she kicked him out after the first line. From childhood, Kazuki was praised by everyone. As a prodigy, she lived under everyone's expectations, so failure was unacceptable. She promised herself she'd get well soon to get back to acting practice. One day, going downstairs, Kazuki accidentally saw IU practicing all night just to be her acting partner. But every night he practiced like that, and when rehearsing with her, he looked terrible. From then, Kazuki started thinking differently about IU. It wasn't that he wasn't trying, but that was as far as he could go. So the next day, Kazuki gave IU another chance to act with her. At first, his acting was a bit rough, but IU's gentle thank you almost made Kazuki not recognize this slimy BA guy. Moments later, the other two emperors, Miwa from the talent team and Kazuki. This deeply moved IU because after 14 years of effort, he finally succeeded, even if it was just a practice with Kazuki. Honestly, Kazuki was a little jealous of IU for getting emotional over a short line. She wanted to get back on stage quickly, so she conceded to IU and agreed to eat the food he made with one condition. IU got super excited hearing that. He really wanted to know what Kazuki's mom cooked for her. But Kazuki insisted he must not put carrots, shiitake, mushrooms, eggplants, or other vegetables in the food. That really annoyed IU because all his efforts were ruined by her picky eating habit. The next morning's rehearsal, Kazuki finally ate the food IU made, leaving the two younger siblings wide-eyed in shock. Kazuki thought as long as there were no carrots, she could eat the whole world. But actually, IU had sneaked in a little finely chopped carrot, making her blush. The little gecko felt really happy that after all the struggles, he finally won over this grumpy BA cat. But except on days off, IU rarely got to eat with the BA siblings because they spent so much time training. Kazuki's practice session. Honestly, Kazuki was a bit jealous of IU who could get emotional over a short line. She wanted to get back on stage quickly, so she admitted defeat to IU and from now on would eat the food he made on one condition. From the arts team made a grand entrance. While everyone else was buzzing with excitement, IU was thrilled to hear that. He really wanted to know what Kazuki's mom cooked for her, but Kazuki asked him not to put carrots in the food, no shiitake mushrooms, no eggplant, and no other kinds of veggies. This annoyed IU a lot because all his effort was wasted, since she hid her picky eating habits. In episode 3 the next morning, Kazuki finally ate IU's cooking, leaving the two younger siblings absolutely stunned. Kazuki said as long as there are no carrots, she could eat anything in the world. But actually, IU had minced a little carrot in the dish, which made the little guy embarrassed. The gecko kid felt very happy because after all the difficulties, he finally tamed those 3 grumpy kittens. But except on days off, I found it hard to have meals with the 3 sisters because they spent a lot of time training. It was a bit disappointing, but he was used to it because back then his mom also filmed for weeks before coming home. That's why the distance between mother and son grew, and now he was trying to help those 3 genius sisters overcome upcoming challenges before they. IU was curious because all 3 emperors were girls. Pass away. His mom wanted him to create a happy family, but he didn't know what a happy family really was, so IU rewatched the movie they both loved the most. In the movie, his mom wore a wedding dress and had a house with children, but he sadly had to tell her that reality was different from the movie mom. Just then, the 3 sisters walked into Nico's house, surprised to see IU crying while watching a romance film, so Kazuki hoped IU didn't have to do all the housework just to win over the 3 siblings. After all, you're just a guest here. IU once felt there was a big gap between her and her mom, but by the time she realized there was no difference between them, it was too late. That's why IU wants to face things head-on and get closer to the 3 of them, and build a happy family. The 3 kids seemed a bit surprised, but Nico thought it wasn't as easy as IU imagined. At the moment, IU's mom's movie showed the wedding scene, making the 3 siblings think. According to the test results, IU is completely average, which left Kazuki a bit disappointed since she expected. He was trying to turn all 3 into brides. Somehow, the 3 even imagined themselves in wedding dresses, but insisted there was no way they'd marry a useless guy like IU. Then IU casually asked Nico's birthday, which made her really flustered. Turns out the guy just wanted to know who was older to address them properly, but that made all 3 siblings furious. That's when Nico realized IU was kind of clueless, even though he lived with 3 beautiful sisters. Right then, she accidentally heard IU scream and ran outside to check. It turned out IU was trying to make a sandwich for breakfast but forgot to buy bread. Nico was speechless even though she was wrapped in just a single cloth. The guy acted completely unfazed, making her blush. This made Miwa really curious because last time Nico let IU see her in just a towel. But this time Nico blushed, showing she had feelings for him, forcing Miwa to hush her stubborn little sister immediately. Yet when IU handed Miwa freshly folded clothes, their hands accidentally touched, making Miwa's face turn bright red. And she even asked him to fold them neater, making IU feel like he was being bullied. But Nico, him to be an outstanding talent, so she had to announce he failed, but IU didn't really care. Quickly realized Miwa was feeling the same way, like she also had feelings for IU. Nico hurried to explain it was just a slip of the tongue, but Miwa argued that slips of the tongue are usually honest, leading to a big fight between them. Just then Kazuki came home and saw them arguing. IU had asked her to put a pot on the top shelf and thanked her, which embarrassed Kazuki and made her look away. Unexpectedly, she stayed and caught the two siblings arguing, so Kazuki joined the fight for IU along with the others. IU stepped in to calm things down and asked what they were fighting about. How could the three answer that thanks to IU's question they stopped fighting, but then they made a mess all over the house, which made IU really angry. IU understood that building a happy family, like the one in his mom's movie, wasn't easy, but somehow the first time he ate with everyone, he felt really happy. If doing a little extra work brought him closer to the three siblings, that was fine. IU believed from the start he only planned to enroll in the basic program. This made everyone it would take some time to earn their trust while cleaning up. You found an old photo of the three siblings as kids. He could only think how happy and angelic they looked back then. So why have they become such grumpy pains now? Since moving into this new house, you needed time to get used to things. He tried to create moments where the siblings could eat together, but couldn't understand how they got so close as kids. He wondered which of the three left the photo there. So IU asked them directly, but none admitted to leaving it there. Yet IU knew one of them was lying. The person who kept the photo must really treasure it. Deep down, that person wanted the siblings to be close like they used to be. But back then, it took a lot of effort to get close. And to build a happy family, IU felt he needed. The sisters were lying. The person who put up the photo must have treasured it to keep it. Deep down. It's also where VIP pro students from all over the country study. People who can do dangerous stunt scenes get into prestigious universities. Unable to believe the son of a top student was in the basic class, while those top three kids, that person wanted the three sisters to be close like before. But back then it was very hard to become close to them. And to build a happy family, IU felt he needed to help them grow closer. Finally, this weekend, the three sisters had to go to another city for a competition. So IU had to be lonely in the big house. They just kept dumping all the household chores on IU, but he understood that for geniuses, traveling was a daily thing. IU took the chance to review the places the three sisters would visit and came up with an idea. Tomorrow was the competition, but Nico forgot to book a room, and Miwa always waited until the last minute to book, so IU booked hotel rooms for both. These were all famous hotels, so IU hoped they'd like them, but Miwa complained. Since IU booked it just now, she reserved a hotel room for both of them. These are all famous hotels, so IU hopes they'll like it. But Miwa said that at hotels she always ends up eating boring food, but that actually means she likes the food IU prepares, though she keeps denying it. The other two sisters almost slipped up. Luckily, the little one is slower to speak than to think. The next day, during the Women's Shogi Championship qualifiers, Miwa's opponent had to think hard before making that move. But Miwa didn't even take a second to think. The judges were thrilled by Miwa's talent, though she seemed not to. Didn't even know their school had a basic training class. They would never associate with those three, care much at all, because her opponent was too weak. After the match, the judge congratulated Miwa on her victory. By the way, she also mentioned Miwa's opponent for tomorrow. It's a 4-dan player in great form. Likely a tough challenge for Miwa, and she's really looking forward to the match. On the way home, Miwa happened to pass the Cherry Blossom Festival, which made her feel very nostalgic. But now, it no longer means anything to her. That night, Miwa stopped by the hotel IU had booked earlier and was shocked to find Kazuki flirting with the receptionist. Not only Kazuki, but Nico was also resting at the hotel, so the three of them realized they had unknowingly ended up at the same place. Just then, IU unexpectedly appeared and started lecturing the three sisters, because not only had they booked the same hotel, but IU had also booked a room for all three so they could hang out and chat. He believed they'd have lots to talk about. Don't forget the wise survive and thrive. IU told himself he was embarrassed for not even being able to keep healthy. IU was there because he was hosting this year's Cherry Blossom Festival trip. That was also where the three sisters took a photo, so he was sure the owner of the photo really wanted to come here too. However, all three insisted they still had matches to play. Well, since there's a shrine for good luck, IU thought it wouldn't hurt for them to stop by briefly. But she felt that admitting that would be like admitting she was insecure. But IU revealed that even top stars often pray here. He knew all three were hard on themselves, but praying helps boost confidence. Besides, there were lots of delicious foods here, like stars. Kazuki didn't want to go with her messy little sisters, so IU took all three to a kimono shop, surprising the owner greatly. Amazed by the appearance of the three genius sisters. First was Kazuki's outfit, which wasn't too flashy, but still highlighted her elegant image. Then came Miwa, wearing a vintage-style outfit with cat patterns, which brought out her playful charm. The freak, he's weird, so he asked to leave early. But Nico made IU stay behind to clean the dojo. But Nico didn't want to pick any outfit because she thought those styles wouldn't suit her. So the shop owner pulled out a simple yet sharp outfit, matching Nico's badass strong style. When she was younger, Nico loved pretty dresses, but her dad wanted her to wear pants. IU chose a pink kimono for Nico, which looked cute, making the other two tease her for being too girly and not fitting her tough style. But IU thought Nico was also very feminine and adorable. After a while of choosing, everyone eagerly anticipated Nico's new look, and she decided to wear the outfit IU picked, surprising everyone like a fairy with her cuteness. Episode 4. When the streets light up, the girls get dressed up too. After getting ready, Kazuki was still the center of attention, as usual, since she was the top star of the theater troupe. IU wanted all three sisters to go together, but Kazuki had already entered celebrity mode, because the rule says the loser has to clean up. Nico even told him to clean thoroughly, even if he had to crawl on the floor, so it was hard to get through the swarm of enthusiastic fans. Kazuki accidentally but coolly turned away, making them think she was someone who craved attention. However, when she and Miwa wanted to play some fun games, the three sisters split up right after ruining IU's plan. Among Kazuki's fans was a girl who didn't like her, but when she tripped Kazuki, reflexively caught her like a prince rescuing a princess. No wonder everyone is crazy about her Kazuki's actions earned even more admiration. Because of that, IU's plan to get close to Kazuki became even more distant. But thanks to that, he also noticed Kazuki was hurt. After helping the girl, IU quickly pulled Kazuki into some bushes to avoid the crowd's attention. He bought some snacks to help Kazuki. Kazuki slipped into the bushes to avoid the crowd's attention, not out of curiosity. He bought some snacks at the food stall to help Kazuki enjoy the festival. Also, he noticed she had a scraped heel, so he brought a bandage, but she found it disgusting, which pissed him off. Kazuki could have just said his foot was injured, which made IU super pissed off. He even got insulted by other students around and asked for a bandage from the fans out there, but she didn't. As a prince, Kazuki believed he should be helping others, not needing help himself, but IU was like, whatever. She told him to shut up, already hurt, and still so proud. Help others instead of needing help, but IU was like, whatever. Just shut up, you're already hurt and still so full of pride. You think a prince has the right to act like a princess. Kazuki becoming an AI works for you then. But now she has to hold out her leg for him to bandage. Just a small gesture of care from IU and her face. That's hard to please. Kazuki instantly flushed red. I wonder when this ship will dock. Meanwhile, Nico and Miwa are playing a fish-catching game, and the player with strength can't catch a single fish, unlike the brainy player Miwa. Just then, IU and Kazuki came back and asked to join. The gathering shocked Nico because of Kazuki's unique flower-shaped mask. This was a strategy masterminded by the genius advisor, IU, to stop everyone from recognizing Kazuki. Then IU convinced the two girls to play fish catching in teams. Don't forget the wise survive and thrive. IU told himself he was ashamed for not even being able to keep healthy. He and Kazuki would be on the same side. Miwa thought Kazuki should wear that smiling mask for the whole festival since Kazuki looked so unapproachable whenever with his two younger siblings. But they didn't know behind that mask was the the smile of the eldest sister after a round of fish catching by the brainy player Miwa. Miwa still hadn't been caught. She thought the younger girl was bluffing. But Miwa replied it was just a skill issue. These three young moms kept bumping into each other like cats and dogs, leaving IU speechless. While the three sisters were busy playing fish catching, IU took the chance to join a contest to get a photo with the golden manu for the three kids, since it appeared in a childhood photo of the three sisters. To win the contest, everyone had to cross lily pads on the lake to reach the torii gate ahead. The winner got to take a photo with the golden manu that supposedly brings good luck as a wallpaper. However, these lily pads could sink. So, to win, the player had to find the lucky path among thousands of pads here. Many sank into the lake just stepping on lily pads. In 15 minutes, no one reached the torii gate except the three genius sisters. Freaky's weird, so he asked to leave early. However, Nico made IU stay and clean the dojo, and all three left a strong impression on the game master. When it was IU's turn, his fate wasn't much different from the others. After a few tries, most gave up since they didn't want to get their clothes dirty. Among the many players, only one young man kept trying, but it looked like he was just lurking to see who was bathing. The guys watching from outside told IU to give up because no matter how lucky he got covered in mud like that, he'd just slip and fall. IU ignored their words, but even when he was the last player left, he still couldn't find the right path. It had started raining, so the two old men invited IU to take a photo with the golden manu, but he still wanted to win the prize himself. IU guessed that when the three were little Miwa found the right path, and Nico used her strength to carry her to the finish line. Add to that Kazuki's flashy appearance, and their win looked even more impressive. IU wanted to experience that feeling, so after countless gotcha spins, he finally reached the torii gate, surprising both the two old men and boy. When taking a photo with my new IU Shin, everyone waited a bit longer for him. Because the rule says the loser cleans up. Nico even instructed him to clean thoroughly, even if he had to crawl on the floor, to call the three sisters for the photo. But due to the weather, the festival ended earlier than usual. So now IU was alone in the rain. This made IU feel useless since he was the one who brought them here, but then left. Alone. Probably the three sisters went back to the hotel early because they had competitions tomorrow, when he thought the distance between them would grow even. What did the three suddenly appeared in front of him, surprising him a lot? Yeah, the three sisters were a bit hard to please, but not as cold-blooded as IU thought. Besides, he was the host, so he had the responsibility to take them back to the hotel. Then the three all wanted to ride in the same car with him, but since they all spoke at once, the old man didn't hear a thing. So these three started blaming each other to figure out who would ride with IU. The three decided to play rock, paper, scissors, and whoever lost would ride with him. The lucky one honored was Nico. But for some reason, just walking in the rain made Nico's heart race strangely. She blamed it on the kimono she was wearing, which made IU really pissed. He even got insulted by the students around him. After returning to the hotel, the three sisters went to the hot springs. While Nico was muttering to himself, the other two were busy comparing whose fruit garden was better. Thank goodness it was raining and the hotel was fully booked, so tonight you'll have to crash at the internet cafe. This completely drained the sisters' vocabularies, but that was nothing Kazuki couldn't handle. Kazuki allowed IU to share a room with the three sisters, which made him feel quite guilty. He intended to mend the sisters' relationship, but ended up making things worse. Right now, it's pouring outside, so leaving him alone would be like abandoning a sick cat. Besides, everyone lives under the same roof, so love here is nothing unusual. While looking for clothes to change into, IU accidentally bumped into Kazuki. Wherever he dodged, she dodged too, making her blush briefly. Then, he went with Miwa to find spare clothes from the hotel, which made her a bit flustered. There was one outfit left on the wardrobe shelf, and this time, Nico was the one who got the short end of the stick. After the bath, the three sisters all agreed the room was too cramped for 4 people. Actually, love was just an excuse to cover up the feelings the three of them had earlier, and are regarded as geniuses in every way. Yet her son, under IU's cleaning, the gym became cleaner than it ever was. When he was young, IU wanted to be recognized by everyone. At that moment, Love hoped everyone would sleep early to prepare for tomorrow. But how can you sleep with a guy still in the bathroom? That night, none of the three sisters could sleep, but they all thought it was just nerves about tomorrow. Meanwhile, IU was extremely thrilled because today, he helped the sisters recreate an old childhood photo. and it even looked fresher than before, thanks to the incredible comedy skills of the useless grandson. IU wanted to take out the childhood photo to compare, but couldn't find it. That's because the owner of the photo had taken it back. Well, that's good, since IU was the one who had taken it without permission in the first place. After IU fell asleep, the three sisters were extremely annoyed seeing him sleep so peacefully. Even with three hot girls right there, it had been a long time since they went out and slept together, so struggling to sleep was normal. Until now, Kazuki still didn't understand why IU picked that kimono for Nico, but he had to admit it suited her perfectly. Kazuki realized, being the son of Aya Subaru, he had to try really hard. He really tried, but then he realized Nico had liked cute things since she was little, and Nico also saw Kazuki as someone just like herself. It had been a long time since Nico saw Kazuki this happy because usually her sister acted like a superstar. Miwa thought everyone had matured, but the two older sisters still didn't see her as grown up. When she was little, Miwa was very confident in her bottle cap shooting skills, but actually Kazuki was shooting alongside her, which embarrassed her and made her want to disappear. Suddenly reminiscing about such silly things made the three of them feel unlike themselves at all. The sisters began suspecting IU had arranged this, but then decided he had no reason to, though only Miwa knew how hard IU had worked to help them get closer, since she was the owner of the photo. A few hours earlier when IU was gone too long, because she's the owner of the photo. Going back a few hours when IU was gone for too long, the three girls were about to report her missing, but didn't know how to describe IU's appearance, so they started listing all the good things IU had done for them. His mother was a genius. Realizing that difference, he felt the gap between them grow wider. Their faces naturally blushed, like they were already addicted and shy about it. Episode 4. After the Cherry Blossom Festival trip, the three sisters grew closer, making IU really happy. At that time, he promised the three girls that once back, he'd treat everyone to a big feast. And tonight was the night to make that happen. After buying the ingredients and returning, IU found the three sisters standing nervously in front of a man. Tense IU quickly recognized him as Uncle Mikadono, by his voice the foster father who asked IU to take care of his three daughters. But the first thing Uncle said to IU was to greet IU, who inherited their mother's talent, which confused IU because aside from looking like their mother, there was nothing special about her. After greeting IU, Uncle Mikadono wanted his three daughters, reporting his recent achievements. The three sisters also reported their accomplishments. The distance between mother and son grew even wider. During his time in the hospital, IU noticed his mother watched a lot of movies again, making their father quite pleased. After hearing his daughter's reports, Uncle Mikadono hurried off even though he had just gotten home. Seeing this, IU invited him to stay for dinner with him and the three sisters. Just then, Uncle Mikadono suddenly noticed the mask IU had bought for Kazuki at the Culture Festival. He didn't look happy knowing IU took the three sisters out because his actions. He didn't look too happy when he found out IU took the three sisters out because his actions seemed like they were hindering his eldest daughter's growth. Even though IU explained there was a shrine for good luck, Uncle Mikadono felt only those who hadn't tried hard enough would rely on such things. He had also done some digging into IU and found out that so far IU hadn't achieved anything remarkable. Even though he was the son of a genius actor, and the Mikadono family would never harbor someone without talent like IU. This surprised IU greatly as he had thought Uncle Mikadono was a genuinely good person, and IU's reaction unintentionally made Uncle Mikadono think he was a lazy person. Just as the movies she starred in many times, it seemed like she was still very passionate about acting. Uncle was about to kick IU out. The three genius sisters unexpectedly stopped their father. All three spoke up to defend IU, saying he had done everything so they could develop their talents. Uncle Mikadono was a bit confused seeing his daughters want IU to stay so much, which made the three girls quite embarrassed. The only reason he had taken IU in was because he was Subaru's son, but he hadn't expected the sisters to be so close to him. Under the protection of the three sisters, Uncle Mikadono finally allowed IU to continue living in the house on the condition that the three of them would no longer attend festivals or similar events, all for the sake of the sisters' success earlier. For the first time, the three sisters called IU by his real name, which made him really happy, so IU decided to treat the three girls to a lavish feast. But all three said they didn't have time for that kind of meal, so everything IU had prepared, went back to how it was when he first moved in after meeting Uncle Mikadono. Finally, IU understood why the three sisters worked so hard to cultivate their talents. It was because of their father. He saw that Uncle Mikadono was truly a capable man, but also noticed the sisters were somewhat displeased. His favorite was a drama where his mother played the mother role, and she liked that movie the most too. When talking to their father, lately Nico often stayed at practice until late at night. Even though she had been trying to come home early for dinner before, she also only took a few scant minutes to fill her protesting stomach with bland food. Kazuki was the same as Nico, staying late at the theater troupe, but for some reason no longer wanted to drink the nutritious smoothies she used to have. As for Miwa, she couldn't focus on playing chess because she kept thinking about the terrible pastries, or rather the pastries their older brother had made before. And that was also when the three sisters realized IU had become an indispensable part of their meals. Uncle Mikadono's cold words made IU feel very discouraged. He thought maybe only ordinary people like himself wanted a happy family, like in the movie his mother starred in. But wasn't his genius mother also fond of that movie? Thinking about that made IU even more determined to build a happy family. The next morning, IU's usual light-hearted words were gone, leaving the three sisters a bit disappointed. Nico's lunch today was the usual boring chicken pastry, but she didn't expect inside her bag to find a bento box that looked very lavish. Kazuki and Miwa. This was the first time he felt they had a normal conversation. Before she passed, his mother wanted IU to also received similar meals, and all three knew AI was the one who had prepared them. The two classmates thought Nico was a picky eater and wanted to eat for her, but it wasn't that they just didn't know how to stop the food from going straight to their hearts, let alone their hungry stomachs. Were boring chicken cakes as usual, but she didn't expect inside her bag to be a lavish bento box. Kazuki and Miwa also received similar meals to Nico's, and all three knew AI was the one who prepared them. The two classmates thought Nico was picky, so they wanted to eat for her. But it wasn't just that they didn't know how to stop it from going straight to their hearts, let alone their hungry stomachs. Meanwhile, IU had to sleep through the first period because she woke up early to cook for the three sisters. They finished all the food making IU. Very happy, but their father thought these things didn't help develop the sisters' talents. Shouldn't appear in this house, so Kazuki wanted IU to become the assistant for the three sisters. Only then could she gain their father's approval. Create a happy family. After she left, IU was taken in by a kind family friend of hers named Mikadono. In the coming days, each sister faced her own struggles, so they wanted IU to support them with everything she could. But that still wasn't enough for the three girls to consider her family. The next morning, IU prepared lunch for the three sisters, just like the phrase, safe travels. The familiar piece made the three girls very happy. At the upcoming theater troupe, Kazuki would have a rehearsal audition for the lead female role of a film, but she felt like she wasn't suited for the role. Meanwhile, Nico was directing her younger siblings' practice when she suddenly got a call. It was from a senior, since the senpais wanted to see how much she had grown for the upcoming tournament. At that time, Miwa was training with her master, and he noticed she wasn't focused on the match and really wanted to hear Miwa's upcoming decision. After a hard day of training, the three sisters returned home feeling heavy-hearted because they always had to live under everyone's expectations. But when they got home, facing IU's comedic act, their mood improved a little, just a little. That day, the three sisters came home earlier than usual, so they decided to. IU's new home looked like a mansion, making him wonder how rich that uncle really was. Have dinner with IU, which made him very happy. Afterwards, he cooked everyone pure wheat udon noodles, making the three wonder how he was such a great cook. But the flavor turned out to be incredibly plain. This reminded the three sisters of their father's teaching. Plain food was usually unacceptable in the Mikadono household, but the ordinary simplicity that IU created made the three feel very comfortable. After eating, Kazuki offered to help IU wash the dishes, surprising him greatly. Kazuki thought she was just helping him to practice being more feminine, but IU felt it had nothing to do with that. By the way, he also asked about Kazuki's upcoming role, which made her very flustered. It was her first time playing this kind of role. Actually, Kazuki was really nervous, but once she got home and had some time alone, she completely forgot what she was worried about. Alright, but Kazuki also reminded him it wasn't because of IU, so don't get the wrong idea. Later, Kazuki noticed IU got hurt while cooking, and he accidentally dropped a plate. Before he could even put down his luggage, IU got kicked around a few times by a girl who thought he was a thief while washing it, but the plate didn't get a single scratch because IU had replaced the household chopsticks with plastic ones so Kazuki could drop them freely. Just as she said this, the guy fell flat on his face along with a pile of chopsticks. Kazuki turned to check on him and slipped too. And that's how our lips met in the legend. So IU begged Kazuki for forgiveness, but she just saw it as an accident, so whatever. On the other hand, Kazuki wanted IU to take care of his nose first. But IU felt he still owed her an apology for kissing someone of the opposite sex while having a nosebleed. The next morning, Kazuki turned off the TV immediately when she saw a kissing scene on the weather forecast. Miwa bragged to Kazuki that IU had just made her a soft jelly snack like the touch of lips. On top of that, IU even came into the room without knocking, which shocked Kazuki. IU knew Kazuki wouldn't be too happy about kissing a useless guy. Useless like him, so he hoped Kazuki could just pretend nothing happened. But how exactly to pretend? Nothing happened wasn't said right, but Kazuki had to admit IU was totally right. She should let it go and focus. Is just an unremarkable student in a school full of prodigies. Then he realized the girl was the one who made him clean, like his life depended on it, Captain Nico, on her upcoming role, because her father wanted a prodigy who could act any role. This time, Kazuki played a young woman in love, but she usually played other roles. Then, Kazuki played a familiar prince role, but when it came to the kissing scene, she lost her composure, thinking about the kiss with that useless guy. The director quickly noticed Kazuki's problem and gave her some helpful advice. The next day, Kazuki unexpectedly asked IU to prepare some energy-rich food for her. This was as easy as pie. By the way, Kazuki also asked IU if he was free this Sunday, and since IU had nothing to do and was totally free, they decided to go on a date this Sunday. Going on a date totally surprised the kid. Episode 6. Kazuki's sudden invitation was a bit confusing, and he didn't understand why. The girl invited a useless guy like him on a date. Could it be because of the kiss last time from afar Nico and Miwa happened to overhear the conversation between their friend and the boss and the useless guy? The two little ones didn't understand why Kazuki had so many dating options. Later, Nico accidentally fell, and IU took the chance to switch to cocky mode, which made her super pissed. Nico was about to give IU a beating when suddenly but still chose a talentless guy like IU. And just as the two returned to their room, Kazuki told IU about an upcoming story. There's going to be an audition for the female lead, while she had only ever played princes before. At the last rehearsal, the director gave Kazuki some advice life experience can relate to acting, so he invited IU on a date to help her understand women better. But since AI is more feminine, that's still uncertain, so IU agreed to go on a date with Kazuki, but she hoped he wouldn't. Think it's just a casual date. If it was just for fun, Kazuki wouldn't be able to see her feminine side, so IU decided to make her heart race, leaving the boss completely speechless. On Saturday morning, Nico asked IU if he was free Sunday, and he said no, thinking Kazuki wanted to keep the date a secret. When Nico saw IU's hesitant face, she guessed he was lying. Back that evening, curious Miwa decided to eavesdrop to see if IU agreed to date Kazuki, and was furious when she found out IU actually said yes. It had been a while since the whole family ate together, but the atmosphere, drying her hair. Since taking care of health is part of martial arts, Nico finally stayed calm. The two created made IU feel kind of scared. Kazuki signaled IU to just prepare for tomorrow's date and that everything was fine. AI thought it was fine and supported it. I think it's fine. I think it's damn fine. The next morning, Nico and Miwa decided to tail them, but why were they dressed so fancy for tailing? Yu seemed really excited, which annoyed the two a lot because he was just going on a date with Kazuki, so why act like it's New Year's? Just then, Kazuki appeared with long hair, surprising the guy like a fairy. Kazuki spoke to IU in her usual tone, but suddenly realized she had to act like a young lady, so she apologized to IU, shocking not only him, but also the two girls from head to toe. Since they were dating, Kazuki decided to call him IU instead of kid like usual, which made him excited. Because they were dating, Kazuki would call him IU instead of the usual kid, and that made him really thrilled. At Kazuki's change, IU's first plan was to take her to the aquarium. He had prepared a detailed plan at home to make sure everything went smoothly. Meanwhile, the two girls still couldn't believe. Right then, the other two in the house appeared, leaving IU completely confused. Their sister was trying to act cute for the useless guy. Inside the aquarium, Kazuki led IU down the stairs out of habit. Actually, it should be the other way around, young lady. Then they went to watch the dolphin show together. Kazuki felt she should act a bit cuter to fit her young lady role, but wasn't sure what cute really meant. At that moment, Kazuki used her back to shield IU when a sudden wave hit the stands. But then she realized they should actually swap places. After that, countless annoying things happened, making Kazuya extremely frustrated because it was so different from Kazuki's usual routine. Seeing their sister's date going poorly made the two little ones very satisfied. While IU went to the restroom, Kazuki felt terrible because IU had prepared so much for the date. Yet she messed everything up. Just then, a guy from the entertainment industry suddenly invited Kazuki to join a talent search show. Although, why are the three kings here? The king is right here. Uncle Mikadono also called IU right after. Kazuki refused, fearing her real identity would be exposed. The guy kept pestering her. Luckily, IU showed up just in time to help Kazuki escape. But IU's way of speaking only made the guy misunderstand more. After arguing back and forth, the guy still wouldn't give up and declared that Kazuki would be his wife, his future wife. That move only kids would fall for, but IU was completely serious. Because from now on, the two of them would spend the rest of their lives together. The guy could only walk away in helpless defeat. Then he apologized. Kazuki and hoped she could forget everything he just said, not knowing there was a face behind her that looked as shy as her little gecko, and IU's heartfelt promises attracted a lot of curious onlookers coming to celebrate them. The warm atmosphere they created made the two little troublemakers hiding in the distance start worrying about her future. After a while, IU realized she had been holding Kazuki's hand a bit too long, but she didn't react at all, which made him really awkward. He said those three oddballs nicknamed King are actually his daughters. But when they saw that everyone around misunderstood them as sisters, IU switched to holding hands like a couple to fit the role better. But that accidentally made Kazuki feel very uneasy. After some moving around, they arrived at the movie theater, and IU picked a romance movie for Kazuki. The female lead was a senior transgender actress who played male roles, the best in the troupe, second only to Kazuki. Yet IU had never watched any of her movies. IU also knew about their past relationship, so she chose this film so Kazuki could learn more from her senior. As Kazuki focused on the screen, she noticed the senior couldn't give up the habits she had when playing male roles, even though a talented actress like her couldn't pull off a female role. Leaving the theater, Kazuki overheard some audience members criticizing the female lead, saying she didn't act like a cute girl at all. Thanks to my daughters, and I hope IU can get along with all three. Now IU finally understood the small request. It also reminded Kazuki of her father's advice, that a prodigy must never fail in any role. IU blamed herself for not preparing, because the senior's on-screen performance would greatly affect Kazuki's spirit. Nico noticed IU just ruined Kazuki's mood with that terrible movie, so she really wanted to see how he would make it up to Kazuki. Late afternoon, IU wanted them to go on the Ferris wheel. But Kazuki wasn't in the mood to hang out anymore. Nico and Miwa felt IU had made a disastrous decision, because his plan was textbook perfect, nothing special. But when they heard passersby say it's a good spot for confessing, all three sisters were as shocked as a startled fish. Earlier, IU said he would make Kazuki's heart race wildly, but she felt IU didn't have to go that big just to act better. She also heard that confessing at the highest point greatly increases the chance of success. When she was young, she was exceptionally tall, very different from her peers, so she started modeling as a kid and debuted as a child actress in a troupe at 6. At first, Kazuki did it for fun, but then she realized there was no turning back. To create a happy family from his mother meant living together with these three difficult genius kids. A star is worthless if they can't shine, so failure is unforgivable. While Kazuki was thinking about quitting, she noticed the guy sitting opposite was trembling. This made Kazuki think IU was afraid of heights, and as expected, IU suddenly stood up and confessed to Kazuki that he would make her the best actress in the world, leaving her totally disappointed because she thought he was about to confess romantically. IU had always failed at everything, but Kazuki envied him because he could fail without consequences. IU was used to failure, so he felt failure sometimes had its own kind of beauty. Right after saying that, IU suddenly showed Kazuki embarrassing photos of himself from today, making her barely recognize her usual cool self. Instead, she saw a strangely cute side. Her own flaws were the main cause of failure, but people eventually learned to embrace them. IU's words unexpectedly stirred many indescribable emotions in Kazuki before their date ended. IU also wished Kazuki success in her upcoming audition. After his mother passed away, IU was lucky to live with these three very beautiful sisters. When they got off, Kazuki smiled brightly like a flower, surprising her two little sisters. Then Kazuki confided in IU. Kazuki smiled brightly like a blooming flower, surprising her two younger sisters. Then Kazuki confided in IU that lately she had been acting how the audience wanted, but she wanted to perform in a way that suited herself more. Thanks to the conversation with IU, Kazuki now realized some people actually like their flaws. So if Kazuki ever faces difficulties, IU hopes she can remember our date today. Their interaction left Nico unsure how to act when they got home. With that expression, just after saying that, Kazuki returned to his usual self, then suddenly leaned in close to IU's face, making the other two think they were about to kiss. But Kazuki only revealed to IU that the last accident was her first kiss, so she told IU to pretend nothing happened, which was kinda tough. Then Kazuki took off her wig to return to being the prince as usual. IU was really glad that Kazuki finally got back to normal, but Nico felt like she'd changed a bit. After getting home, IU was unexpectedly welcomed by Nico and Miwa. But with reality like this, who could handle it? All three sisters are geniuses, totally opposite to a useless guy like him. And he couldn't believe his ears because it had been ages since he'd heard a greeting from family, even though they treated him like a maid. Episode 7 is the midterm exam, so Nico and IU had to grind hard studying even on the way to school. Nico had to study before the test because practice was intense. Meanwhile, Kazuki was still chilling as usual since studying on the go totally ruined her image. Since IU and Nico are both in 11th grade, they happily discussed their lessons, making the other two jealous just watching. Exactly. Suddenly, a thief bumped into IU while he was talking to Nico, so IU dashed after him at full speed, but he ran like hell slow. Luckily, Nico caught up with the thief, who was pretty skilled himself. So Nico couldn't take him down right away, but with her top-tier martial arts skills, she eventually managed to catch him and made him listen to the law, impressing everyone around her. Yet everyone else rushed over to check on the girl who got robbed, and only IU noticed Nico's injuries after the fight. IU tried to bandage Nico up, but she refused because the wound was small. Still, he knew even a small injury is an injury, and fear is fear, no matter how small. While everyone was chatting, the thief made a quick escape. Unbelievable to everyone around that he's the son of a genius actress. So naturally, they would never pay him any attention. After the introductions, bad luck for him, he ran into someone even stronger than Nico and got kicked hard. Everyone quickly recognized him as Hayato, the martial arts prodigy from Inuyama High, which surprised IU a lot. Nico was also curious why Senpai was here, and Hayato said he came because of Nico. After arriving at school, Hayato announced to the whole club that Inuyama High would be training here for a week. IU showed up too, but the others chased him away like he was a ghost. IU was there because it looked like that guy was trying to hit on our Nico. The other guys didn't like Hayato either, since ever since he arrived, all the girls flocked to him. What they knew about Nico and Hayato was that they both came from the same dojo. Just then, Nico asked permission to spar with Hayato, even though the gender difference made their skill gap even bigger. Seeing Nico's determination, Hayato accepted the challenge, but through several rounds, Nico couldn't win a single one, surprising everyone. Luckily, IU jumped out to stop Nico just in time before she got fired up and challenged Senpai again. Afterwards, Nico confided in IU that Hayato was her hero back at the dojo. Because of jealousy, the boys planned to ambush her. IU went to put away his luggage, but accidentally tripped over his sister's underwear, getting scolded by Kazuki. Then he realized since the three sisters showed up, but Hayato arrived just in time to save Nico. After going to high school, they attended different schools, but Nico could still meet Senpai at national competitions. That's right, at this time, Hayato invited Nico to visit the Inuyama High Club, which surprised everyone because it's an all-boys school. But this year, they started accepting girls. Also, Hayato got permission from Uncle Mikado to have Nico transfer there. Plus, the members here are weak, so if Nico wants to get stronger, she has to train with strong people. Sparring with these students would only hold her back. Though annoyed, the club members had to admit Senpai was right. Once they agreed, Hayato just had to wait for Nico's decision to aim for the peak of martial arts together. On the way home, right then, Hayato invited Nico to visit the Inayama High School Club, which surprised everyone because it's an all-boys school. But this year, they started accepting girls. Plus, Hayato got permission from Uncle Mikado, so he wanted Nico to study there. Moreover, the members here are very weak, and if Nico wants to get stronger, she absolutely has to train. The room had turned into a pigsty. 8 chopsticks hadn't been washed for almost a week and smelled awful. This week, it was Kazuki's turn. With strong people, sparring with these students would only hold Nico back. Although it stung the club members, all had to admit that Senpai was right. Once they agreed, Hayato only needed to wait for Nico's decision to pursue the peak of martial arts together. On the way home, Ayu told Nico that this didn't feel right. More precisely, he really wanted to know how she felt about having to transfer there soon. Nico felt honored by that. It's a perfect boarding school where everything from meals to sleep is taken care of by professionals. That means leaving home for Nico. Before she agreed quickly, but now she felt hesitant. Maybe it was all because of Ayu's arrival in that cold house. So before entering, Nico said she really wants us to be together. Not just Nico, but everyone in the club feels the same. But if Nico wants to improve her skills, they hope she'll go with that senior. After sharing these honest feelings with Nico, the whole group immediately left, leaving her speechless. But Ayu felt like to wash the dishes, but she claimed she was too busy. Ayu cleverly noticed Kazuki did try to wash, but broke too many things and gave up halfway. They all shared Nico's thoughts, didn't they? That dinner, Kazuki surprisingly let Nico use his expensive shampoo. Miwa even gave up her favorite dish for her, making Nico surprised like a fairy. The rumor that Nico was recruited has now spread throughout the academy, and Ayu feels like Nico's 2 sisters don't want to be apart from her either. Knowing this made Nico really happy, but the happiest moment was when she remembered Ayu's caring attitude. Just thinking about it made her face flush like a tomato. Nico really wants to know how Ayu feels about her leaving, but doesn't dare ask directly. The next morning, Nico suddenly declined Hayato's invitation, which surprised him. But Hayato didn't mind because he was sure Nico would have a better training environment and that he would personally train her. Both brothers are aiming for the top, so that's very important, but Nico thinks it's not the only option. The 2 Hayatos noticed Nico's personality changed significantly and wanted to know why. Speaking of which, the image of the 2 sisters with Ayu suddenly popped into Nico's mind, leaving her speechless. But no matter the reason, Hayato still wants Nico to follow. Laundry was Miwa's job, but she said Kazuki had too many clothes to handle. Ayu quickly noticed him because she's not an ordinary person. Just as Hayato was hitting Nico's weak spot, Ayu suddenly challenged Hayato. According to Hayato's logic, the academy needs someone stronger to train Nico, so Ayu will beat him and take that spot. After all, Ayu also wants to be with Nico, and to do that, he'll take down anyone who stands in his way. This deeply moved everyone, but the challenger is the top-ranked karate champion, yet everyone still trusts Ayu because he's the son of the genius actor Subaru. With proper training, maybe, he stands a chance. Hayato was impressed, learning Ayu is Subaru's son. But that didn't stop him from pursuing Nico. Ayu's no pushover either. He responded to Hayato's challenge, saying he's the one standing by Nico. Seeing these 2 guys fighting over her, Nico just gave up. Hayato had no intention of turning down Ayu's challenge either. So after this training camp, he wants a match with Ayu with AI as the prize for the winner that Miwa was trying to keep track by writing notes on her hand. Cleaning was Nico's task. You all probably know by now, because Nico's future depends on red-haired Ayu, she has no choice but to train him after school. First, Nico wants both to spar to test Ayu's skill, but seeing the kid's crouched stance, she loses all interest in fighting. While Nico was explaining Hayato's strength, his long-range kicks Ayu suddenly closed in on Nico, so she knocked him down with a punch. Nico thinks Ayu is hopeless. The upcoming match is basically like a chick taking on a rock. Ayu also realizes the huge skill gap, but quitting without trying isn't right. So he boldly challenged Hayato in the spirit of martial arts because he just wants us to stay together. It made her so embarrassed, but when she realized we're all here, including those 2, she lost all interest. Nico thinks He said that without feeling embarrassed. With IU escorting everyone in the mornings, it's not so bad, after all. After opening up, IU really wants to know why Nico refused that tempting offer, which made her very flustered. Nico thinks it's silly, but IU says how could wanting to be with everyone be silly? But she quickly insulted IU as useless, and while the three girls kept mocking him. Then Nico revealed she wants to stay with the club and her two sisters because having IU escort her every day isn't so bad. And then Nico also revealed she wanted to stay with the club and the two sisters since having IU see her off every day wasn't so bad. Besides, Miwa and Kazuki were working hard every day, so she felt she had to try harder too. As she said this, the two suddenly popped out from the door, making Nico blush. Oh wait, the intense match means they'll definitely cheer their hearts out. The next morning, Nico even made IU train like Saitama, but the guy was tired from a cold ear infection. At this rate, it'll be hard just to touch Hayato, let alone win. As for the match, IU had already planned everything. Because the challenge letter forbade Hayato from using his dominant hand, Nico was powerless against IU's dirty tricks. He took the chance to clean the whole room spotless. Plus, he could do housework if the girls wanted to make the three sisters soften up. Since today was a day off, IU planned to sleep a bit longer before preparing breakfast for the three sisters because, after all, he would become part of their family. Nico woke up early to train accidentally making loud noises that awakened IU. Miwa was talking to a computer. They say IU's advanced program and arts exam scores are only average, so the three emperors thought he had a physical talent and ended up getting his ass kicked. While oldest sister Kazuki was cosplaying as an apothecary, Kazuki explained this was their daily routine. The three sisters treated it like IU brushing his teeth and washing his face. By the way, Kazuki reminded IU to watch the house carefully. Although it was a day off, the three would soon go out to work. Miwa was busy rehearsing with the musical troupe. Nico was heading to the martial arts club and had a chess match coming up. They hoped everyone would stay for breakfast. But Kazuki declined, saying breakfast would make her late for practice. She turned to invite Miwa to eat, but found her snacking on sweets to stimulate her brain. Preparing for a match against a bot. This reminded IU of his mother every time she trained, so he decided not to bother Miwa anymore. Remembering before, IU used to prepare lots of food for his mother, but she never touched the food he made. Instead, she only ate pre-prepared meals, which made him unable to understand what geniuses usually think. Loving his mother didn't feel like a family, so he didn't know how to build a family with these three girls. After training, Nico saw the table full of food IU had prepared, making her drool. While IU's mother is gifted in all three fields, he's not quite there, since he inherited her face. She planned to grab a bite, but then realized it wasn't nutritionally balanced, so she lost interest. IU felt it was a hassle, but controlling what goes into your body is obvious for an athlete who prioritizes their body, so the sisters wouldn't eat whatever they want. Kazuki chose the right minerals to maintain her star image, and Miwa ate sweets to stimulate her brain. That's when he realized how hard they worked. When he was little, he didn't understand and was afraid of his mother. Seeing the three sisters rush outside, IU called them back, making them think he'd forgotten something. But IU just wanted to tell them to take care of those three. They felt disappointed, thinking he had something important to say. For IU, this was the first step in building a happy family. But simply, IU just wanted to tell the three sisters to take care of those three guys. After hearing that, they felt really disappointed, because they thought the young man had something important to say. For IU, this was the first step toward building a happy family. That simple statement from IU made Nico unable to believe she had such a happy expression. Not just Nico, but the other two sisters. Everyone around places high expectations on him, but the higher the expectations, the greater the pressure. Shared the same feeling. After those three left, Uncle Mikadono called to ask how IU's first day living alone went. By the way, he also told her he wouldn't be visiting the house often in the near future, meaning she had to live alone with those three wild beasts. He also wanted to help the three girls in the future because they would soon face the challenges of prodigies, so he hoped IU could help them overcome those difficulties and open up more to her. In the upcoming episode 2, the three sisters will face some. The eldest sister, Kazuki, will have to try acting out a very difficult role. The older sister and Nico will have to defend their winning streak at the National Karate Tournament, and the youngest sister, Miwa, will have to prepare for a match to win an important title. But IU doesn't even know if he can handle those three troublemakers. because he's weaker than them in every way. They would be in big trouble if even the three sisters suffered 7 losses, and he understands that feeling better than anyone. First, the only thing IU inherited most from his mother is his sharp eyes and face. IU thinks ordinary people cling to talent. IU decides to get to know the 3 girls better by having them sit down and share a meal with him. Nico is the first to come home, and it seems like little Nico still isn't used to living with IU. On the contrary, IU wants Nico to try the food he just made. She thinks she'll never be that easily tempted. She thought IU would give up easily, but the guy just keeps cooking enthusiastically. IU bought a bunch of cookbooks to prepare dishes suitable for the 3 sisters. He promises to make the best tasting food they've ever had, but Nico advises him not to waste his time, because even dishes made from the finest ingredients won't lure the girls into winning. Nico has to strictly manage what goes into their bodies since it's mostly processed food anyway. But then Nico still runs out to see if IU has given up. Has he given up yet? And then she finds out he has prepared a nutritious meal for an athlete like herself. He's adjusted everything to suit Nico according to a nutritionist's advice to make her happy. Nico understands how hard IU tried to prepare this nutritious meal, so she agrees to be the judge of the food, making IU delusional enough to think he's won over the stubborn Nico. Besides, IU also prepared a special menu